there must be some form of a bechira, but I'm not going into that right now. Aber a yid, he's got bechira chofshiyas. So you have an amazing ability. You have the koya to mess up that journey. Hashem meant you to make a journey. And according to the Baal Shem Tov, you're going to have to make it. But how you make it and what you use it and what results you bring out of it, that's up to you. You follow? That's talui in your bechira. Therefore, you can carry out your shlichus. And that's what the Alter Rebbe writes at the beginning of Likkut Torah in Shmoy. There's only about a mimer and a half. That in the whole Likkut, the Alter Rebbe writes over there that each neshama is a shliach. Yeah, the Alter Rebbe writes that each neshama is a shliach. That's not just an up-to-date Chabad. The Alter Rebbe writes it. Everybody is a shliach. So you are a shliach to carry out your 42 journey. You can either carry out the shlichus or you can mess it up. You follow? And it's the same basic principle. If a person can't do otherwise, and he's just like a robot, he's not really a shliach. A shliach, by definition, means a person that he chooses to do what the Mishaleyach, the Hadikot, the sender, wants him to do. Otherwise, he's not really a shliach. He chooses to do the shliach. Of Amira, says the Rebbe, comes out that every journey is like a choice on your part to make sure that the journey is going to carry out the right shlichus. Yeah. Lafisa, it comes out that all these journeys which are written here, the 42 journeys written in the Chumash, are very, very high and important in Yonim, and they all hide in themselves tremendous messages of what are really you're supposed to be doing with your 42 journeys. You understand? So you might say, well, look, I'm in a bit of a difficult situation. I don't really know, what journey is what, So the answer is that that's only because you're not busy with examining carefully what's happening with you. But if you really are mityayet with a mashpia or with a great person, he can reveal to, or a person that just wants to help you, he can reveal to you approximately what are the journeys. This is a worthy journey, but you can either change the nature of what Hashem meant with that journey, or you can leave it in its place, and it'll be an aliyah, Shem Mem Beis. And the Arizal says that Hashem Mem Beis only goes upwards. There's no Yerida in the Shem Mem Beis only aliyah, which means that you connect up with the energy of this amazing name. What Rashi writes in Kiddushin, Loinish Parish Lana. It's so high and it's so tremendously elevated. So, of Amila, let's try and take an example or two, because if you look in some of the great Sforim, they go through all of these journeys and they show how all of them are very high and profound in Yonim, and what they mean in a person's life. And you'd be amazed what they come up with. It's absolutely mind-boggling. All sorts of strange names are written. Rashi gives an example, and he said that they camped in a place called Ritma. Rishma was where they sent the Meraglim. So he said the word Rishma is indicative of Lashon Hara. Rashi said it. And because the Meraglim spoke Lashon Hara against Eretz Israel, it's called Ritma, that's the name of that place. It's all, that's just Rashi, even Aki Posher, but these foreign go into all sorts of amazing things. And so I'll just give you a couple of dugmoid. And it's written right near the beginning. It's written that in Posik Bo, it's written, Vayisu Misokois, Vayachanu Be'esom, Asher B'Ktei HaMidbar. And they went from a place called Esom, and they set a place called Pi HaChirois, and they came to eventually in the desert to a place called Midbar Esom. V'yavru b'zeh yam hamidbara b'midbar Esom. So we see that even though they've gone to detailed places, they're really in Esom. And then it's written that they go from Esom and they camped in Morah. And they went from Morah and they came to Elimah. They came to a place called Elim. So, comes along the Baal Shem Tov, and he gave us an example of what he said. And he said that the Morah, but that's where, when they first came out of Egypt, it was, how do you call it, bitter water. They couldn't find clean water to drink, and Moshe Rabbeinu threw a special eight into the water and made it sweet, and then they were able to drink. So that's called Morah. But Morah means bitterness, not good. So it's written, Vayisu mi Morah, Voyovoyu Elimah. Yeah, they came to a place called Elim. So you know what the Bible said? I didn't ask this to be written. It's written. It's written in a sefer of the Baal Shem Tov's son-in-law, the Einiko, the Baal Shem Tov, the Dego Machane Ephraim. And he writes this Mefuret. And he said he asked the Zayda, the Baal Shem Tov, what is Esom, what is Morah? And they went from Morah to Elim, and then he found 12, wells of water there, pure, good water, and Shivim Tmorim, and there were 70 date trees, and it was a beautiful place, this Elim. So he said to Baal Shem Tov, so what's the 12, wells coming up from under the ground? So the Baal Shem Tov said that Morah is not good. Morah is bitter. And he said that Chas v'sholem, a person can learn Torah and he can be involved in Torah, but he said in Torah there's also what you call Mayim Morim. That you can learn Torah the wrong way, Chas v'sholem. In other words, you can be involved in learning Torah, but you're not really learning just for the sake of the Torah. So the Gemara says you should always learn Shaloi Lishmo, but there's levels in that, you understand? But if you're sort of after your own interest, and you're sort of in it, and you have certain, like what you might call buildings of your Matthias in learning Torah, but you're not learning Torah purely because it's Chochmas Hashem and Chochmosei v'Ratzoinoi. Then the Baal Shem Tov said you got to be careful because that's what you drink. How do you call it?
Bitter water.
Bitter water, Chas v'sholem. And we learned Pirkei Avos, chapter 1. on Shabbat, on last Shabbat. We learned chapter 1. So does anybody know what's written about it in chapter 1? In Pirkei Avos? No? It's written that Shema Yavavtalion, Deiyu Malekable Atira before Hillel. Hillel was Mekabel from Shema Yavavtalion. They were very special guys, Shema Yavavtalion, by the way. Yeah. And you know, they're buried over in near Meron, you know. And it's brought down about the mikveh over there. There's a mikveh. Yeah, it's brought in Sforim about it. Yeah. So anyway, Avtalion, it's written that Avtalion said, Chachomim, you have to be very careful not to drink from the Mayim Morim. Look it up and you say every shul, you know, etiquette, the Pirkei Avos, as you just sort of go over it. Right. But you have to be careful not to drink from the Mayim Morim, right? Yeah. And then it's written that you got to be careful of your Talmidim, because you have Talmidim. Everybody's got Talmidim, and if you've drunk from the Mayim Rabbi, they'll get it also. And what does he say at the end? V'nimtzo, not a good result. Yeah. That's what Avtalion. That's what he said. So you see, there's a in from Mayim Morim, you know. You can be busy in learning too, but, you know, got to be careful. What is the quality and the inner story of your learning? Yeah. So the Baal Shem Tov said, yeah, they got into that a bit, but by Yishuv Mimara, they left that alone. They got out of it. And what happened to them? Vayovoy Eilima. They came to a place called Eilim. And he said, you know what he says? He writes over there that Eilim is a Rosh Tevas Yaakov Avinu Lo Meis. That's what he writes.
There it is.
He said Yaakov Avinu, and he writes that Yaakov Avinu Chai Itanu Li'olam. That's how he's right there. That's very good. Tegel Gafne writes it in the same. No, I never heard of anybody, you know, make any complaints against Tegel Gafne. Never heard that. Everybody regards it as a very holy savior. So he says he said, why does he said a very basic thing. Why Yaakov Avinu more than Avraham Avinu? Why is he like that? That's for sure that the other Ovis are also like him. Why do we make a special, why is the big thing about Yaakov Avinu? So he said, Yaakov Avinu is Emes. Yaakov Avinu is Midas Emes. Right. And there's a Gemara, Masayey Shabbos, which says that Emes is like, the word Emes is like a, how do you call it, a square thing that sits, it sits flat.
It has the feet.
Mem and the aleph and the top, they sit flatly on 2 feet, all 3 of them. So it's like a sort of a block.
And
from the top it's also the same. The Gemara says because Emes never falls, Emes holds out, and Emes stands everlastingly. Sheker, says the Gemara over there right alongside. And the Gemara says Sheker's got 1 long foot. That's how he said. He said if you stand on 1 foot, then ultimately you're going to have to fall. You can't stand on 1 foot for a while, but you can't stand on 1 foot. Oh, Mela. So he says they went from Mora to the Emes of Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu lo mei. And he said, Yaakov Avinu lo mei. Amas Hamayim, yeah. That's not Emes, that's Amas, yeah.
Right, I'm saying it's...
Yeah, it's the same idea, yeah. Mayim is ein Mayim el Torah. Yeah. Oh, Mela, yeah. The descendant of Yaakov Avinu, lo mei, Yaakov Avinu is the Emes. So he said they went from Mora And they all of a sudden realized what is the real function of learning Torah. You've got to make sure you avoid what the world tells you, all the things and all the bluff and all the business, that you're learning Torah because of what Torah says. In other words, let other people worry about you. You don't worry about And if we examine the Rabbi, what's the greatness of the Rabbi? The Rabbi never cared what anybody thinks. He just said what is got to be said. You follow? The Rabbi never worried. And he should always be worried. We need money for Lubavitch. Don't say things that are not popular by all the money givers and everybody. And the Rabbi never bothered about that. There was once an amazing, I think I told you the story. There was once an amazing story that there was a big, the Sgan Rosh Shiur of the whole of New York, they called him the deputy mayor of the whole of New York, had a Yechidus with the Rabbi, yeah. A non-Jew, but a very understanding person. Yeah, very, he had a Yechidus with the Rabbi. So people said to him before you go in, they said, be careful because there'll be a point where he'll hit you for money. He'll somehow or another, he'll swing the conversation and he'll want some money from you. So, just take it easy, watch your step. Yeah. So in the meantime, he had this amazing talk with the Rebbe. And he thought, he doesn't know what these people were warning him about. All of a sudden, as he's about to leave, the Rebbe said, listen, I'd like to just have a word with you about that. So he thought, this is the pit line. Yeah. So you know what the Rebbe said to him? The Rebbe said to him, there's a place on the way to, I've forgotten what they call it, called Chinatown.
Oh, yeah.
And Chinatown is a huge area where all these Chinese people have all their businesses. Have you ever seen it? Probably have. Even I saw it. I drove past Chinatown on my way to actually, I forgot exactly where. And so you got all these businesses, they're all packed in there. Terrible. Yeah. So the Rebbe said, listen, this is not a way to keep human beings, These guys are honest businessmen. And that's the way of making their panos. Why shouldn't they be able to do it for COVID? Why should they be sitting all one on top of the other, He said, you have to talk with your senior and do something, and there has to be some move made to improve the conditions of Chinatown. So this guy, he decided to chop down the stores. He said he's been told that this rabbi is going to hit him for money. So ain't nothing on me. The Rabbi hit him for money, but not about Chinese. And the Rabbi said you can't leave people in a matter like that. You've got to do something for them. Chinese. So what do we see from that? The Rebbe said what you have to say. He doesn't worry what other people are going to think, or even what he's on about it, or have money or a woman. And that was with the whole me Yehudi. With the Rebbe spoke out with such courage against this tremendous political backdrop. That's what it's like with everything. That's the Indian van Yaakov Avinu lo made. That's the Indian, but Poyo, that's the Indian van Emma. And that's a koyach of Yaakov Avinu. That's the Rebbe functioning that way, because Nasi is Nitzot shel Yaakov Avinu. That's what a Nasi is. He's a Nitzot. And a Nitzot is a spark. A spark is a piece of the atom. Of a mela, a spark is not just a radiation. A spark is a piece of the atom. The Rabbi always spoke on him. That's the Indian van Yaakov Avinu. He said, what happened after that? They went to the Yam Suf. And what happened by the Yam Suf? one of the biggest nisim in the whole of Yiddishkeit and the whole of history of humans with the creator of the world. That's probably the biggest nes. It's what down in Silver. Kriyas Yam is a tremendous nes. Oh, Mela, that's one thing where we see that the journey was really hidden in itself. So then it goes on later with this Indian and Pasik Tezayin, where Yisum Midbar Sinai v'yachanu b'kivrei satava. They left Midbar Sinai and they got into this place of kivrei satava. And that's where they got crazy about the Slav, and there was a whole terrible thing, and all these people were buried there. And that's the touch, kivrei satava. So you know what the Baal Shem Tov said about that? He said that really that's only good, and that's the best possible thing for a person. No, but then it looks not like that. And he said they made it at that time, because their Bechira wasn't good at that time. Oh, but really that's a very holy thing. So he says like this. He says that there's a great Makubal that he wrote a sefer called the Bris Manucha. And the Arizal said about this sefer, the Bris Manucha, even he said that it's Pile Pla. Yeah, the Arizal said about it. So the Baal Shem Tov, he quoted, and he says like this. He says, was it a pshat kivreis atava? So he said kivreis atava is really the madrega of Chokhmah Datzilas. He said this is one of the highest of all the journey. Chokhmah Datzilas. So everybody shout that. Chokhmah Datzilas, kivreis atava. You know, how does it fit together? And you know what he said to Baal Shem Tov? He said if you get up into Chokhmah, and he said you can't really reach Chokhmah Datzilas, okay, but you get involved in Chokhmah of the Torah, which comes anyway from Chokhmah Datzilas, then you bury all your taivas. You bury all your taivas. In other words, what's the whole reason that you fall all the time in the all the taivas of the world and everything? Because you're not in Chokhmah, your mind's all over the place. Yeah. He said, if your mind's dovek in Chokhmah, you bury the Torah. So that's one example from the Baal Shem Tov. You have to go. Yeah, good. Thanks for coming. And thanks for the. I'll let you have the money to pay the show. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. Oh, Mela, Kivrei Satava is really a tremendously high thing. But if you don't approach it the right way, and you have a wrong Bechira in the matter, then you can fall into Kivrei Satava. With all the things, you'd be amazed. I have a sefer at home where he writes on all of them what they indicate in the spheres, Lamayla, what all the different journeys, how they are, mitzad the from Kedusha. An amazing thing. So you know what comes along the Rabbi Yitzhak Baditchava, I'm finishing. Comes along the Rabbi Yitzhak Baditchava, and he says a most amazing thing. He said, when you come to a place, then how do you relate to that place? Are you, as it were, in charge of that place, or is the place in charge of you? You know, the place where you're going, taking over. It's like what's written in Pirkei Avos, that Ein Odom, Mechavdes, Amochim Mechavdes Odom. It says a lotion in Pirkei Avos. Is that the question, do you bring COVID to the place, or does the place bring you COVID? Mela, what does he mean? He says like this, it's written by the Meraglim, that they were good Meraglim. that Yeshua sent, he sent them lachpoyer es ha'oretz, to spy out the land. And these were real spies. Moshe Rabbeinu not, as we learned in our Shiur. However, why did he say lachpoyer es ha'oretz? Because the word lachpoyer is put to shame. It's written that when Masayey will come, the sun will be ashamed, and the moon will also feel shame. Yeah, boisha hachama v'chofro halavona, chofro with a cher. Well, that's the word lachpoyer. Lachpoyer, literally to put the earth to put that place to shame. So everybody says, what on earth? Why would Yeshua send Meraglim to put out so to shame? What on earth has that got to do with it? So the answer that the great Sforim bring is that if you are involved in the Yaakov Avinu Lo Meis, you're involved in the emes, and you try always to do only according to what is the emes, like we said in the name of the Rabbi, then what happens is that you cause that the place where you go becomes ashamed of you, and therefore it gives you everything what it's got to give, because it wants to win favor in your eyes. Kaviocha, that's what yeah. And he said, instead of you running with Google eyes after the place really runs after you. And it wants to give all the best and to bring all the birudim that it's got to give and give you, if you only approach it right. And you know what he writes the B'ditcheva? He said that really they conquered Eretz Yisrael through Torah mitzvahs. It was the Torah mitzvahs that they did at every place, that really conquered. Just that when had Moshe Rabbeinu taken them in, they would have conquered without military effort whatsoever, only Torah mitzvahs. But due to the fact that there was a big area was ain't kind of mohim to go into all that, and Yeshua is on a much lower level, and therefore they had to also be in and of military struggle. But really, what made them victorious in all the military struggle was only the Torah mitzvahs, and particularly the Torah. You know, before he went on Yericho, Yeshua spent the whole night learning Torah. You know that. Yeah. It's put down in the Gemara. Yeah. And he was lon bo'oim koi shel Torah kol ha'Yisrael. Yeah. We see from that caused Eretz Yisrael literally to want to give to the Yidden everything it was supposed to give them. If I look, that's how. That's the way it is with everything. So we see that it all depends on every journey you have to undertake in life, how you approach it, and what is Malachatchila, the moitor, the going out, what is the source point, what do you start with, and what do you make the Ika Kavona, what you're doing. And that leads to Masayey, that brings you to your journeys, and then your journeys are good ones. And then Eila Masayey, then you're going to get back to the source of everything. But remember that if you get involved in Chokhmah, then you can be fortunate in the sense that you have less to deal with the Taivas, and that's a very amazing thing. And the Bris Manucha said that. He was a very big makubal, the Bel Shem Tov quoted him. Through all of that, what's going to happen with us? I see he's already putting his hand on this. What's going to happen with us? That if we go through all of these inyonim, and we get as much as we're able to involved in the emes, and we don't care what the world says, but we care what we say, and we try to make our lives that way, then we're going to eventually get to Yarden Yericho. And it's a bit of a job. There's 42 of these. And it's an effort. It's a bit of a job. So what's going to be with the people who are right before Mashiach? So Hashem will run them through the 42 journeys, and he could sometimes, you